Hi, I'm Johnny Marques. We all have people we admire, heroes, people we look up to, people we try to emulate. At the All Knowing, we look into people's personality by using different systems such as numerology, astrology, and life charts. A deep dive in a persona, if you will. It is our hope that we can help break down what makes a person, who they are, their traits, their actions, and their possible beliefs, and in doing so, help you understand if you have similar virtues. Thank you for watching and enjoy the show. Hey there, welcome to another episode of The All Knowing. Today, what we're going to do is an episode on profiles of courage. So basically, titled The Survivor Series. So one person in particular, a man by the name of John Cavalieri, has a fascinating story in profiles of courage and survival. How you doing, John?
Hey, how are you? How's it going, Johnny?
Good, good. So please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, a little bit of your background.
Let's see, 41-year-old guy from Philadelphia area, married with 8 kids.
Whoa,
Yeah, from 4 to 27. It's a blended
nice.
family. Yeah, it's a blended family. We have, 4 and 4, and we
Okay,
recently just got married back this past June.
congrats.
Yeah, we live in the southern New Jersey area.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So what's your background? What do you do for a living?
Construction. I've been in construction my entire life.
Okay. So basically, do me a
I
favor.
could have told you that. I could have told you that.
Oh, yeah.
So hold on there, Swami. So tell us your story. Give us your background. And basically, there is a day that changed your life forever, per se.
In regards to the most recent situation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, let's see. About 3.5 years ago, well, May of 2019, I was working on one of my projects up in North Jersey, and I decided I had to go outside of a scaffolding to pull a tarp down over a building because we didn't want rain to go inside of a building. And I went to go grab the tarp. It was a damp tarp, and I was on a metal scaffolding, and I had gotten shocked by the building power. Basically, I was a grounding point between. Yeah, I was grounding point between the building and the swing scaffolding for about 15 to 20 seconds.
Right. Okay. So
Um,
basically, the electricity was coming from the building itself.
Yeah, so the building wasn't grounded properly.
Oh, I see. But it wasn't from lightning or thunderstorm. Okay,
No.
good. Okay.
Yeah,
Got
so the tarp was damp, and it just jolted me right through, and I was standing on a metal scaffolding for about
Wow.
15 to 20 seconds.
Okay. And so what happened next? Did you pass out? Like what?
It was so crazy because the power just takes a hold of you and just vibrates your entire body. And I remember like kind of blacking out, and then this
Right.
point of where I just felt like I had to break free from it. I wasn't going to die from being shocked. And I
Right.
remember seeing my kids' faces like come across my face, and I said, I'm not going to die this way. And I just happened to I broke through. I had enough adrenaline to break through for this power. But then I had another challenge. I was suspended to a lifeline, which was across the other side of the building with a harness. So, and I don't even know how I did it. And the ambulance and the fire trucks, they have no idea how I cut through the harness all at the same time of getting shocked.
Wow.
Yeah. Caught the harness, got on the other side of the scaffolding, got up on top of the building. And then that's when a crew actually called the ambulance and they came to take it to the hospital.
Okay. And then just to let everyone at home know, John was kind enough to call us. He's traveling right now, so he's not on a roller coaster. He's just he's traveling right now. So okay, so you're on top of the roof, and basically you're in the hospital. And
So
then
they suggested I see a cardiologist within 6 months, and I kind of just went along with life. And I should have taken that moment as for me to slow down, because I was in business and I was motoring as an entrepreneur, trying to be, going to be successful. And I just kept going on with life. 6 months go down the road, I started to get congestive heart failure, or I started to get like my stomach starts getting bloated. I went to the hospital and they diagnosed me with congestive heart failure.
wow. And what is congestive heart failure? Can you explain?
So the left side of my heart was only pumping 5% of the blood out. It's
Wow.
called ejection fraction. So at that time, that was another pivotal part of my life where I was saying, wow, what am I going to do now? They were basically saying I needed a heart at that time.
Wow. And obviously from the jolt, correct? Shoot, sorry about that.
Sorry.
From the jolt, correct?
Yep. Yeah, because I have zero heart disease in my family. In my DNA, there's zero. They did a DNA test and it determined that it came from the shock.
Wow. Okay, so basically, you were saying 6 months later?
6 months after the actual accident. So it took about 6 months for my heart to actually weaken to get to that point.
Okay, so then what's that process? I mean, how does, like you actually got a transplant, right?
So that didn't happen until 3 years later.
Oh, okay.
So 2019, October 19 was when I was diagnosed.
Okay.
And I went on a 3-year journey of heart failure, which you have to adapt and basically overcome, everyday challenges of not being able to breathe, not being able to walk up steps, carry things, do things, sleeping and eating,
Right.
your whole life gets completely turned upside down. June of this year was when I completely crashed. It was about a week before our wedding.
Wow.
I was so bad that my wife was like, listen, if you don't go, I'm calling an ambulance. So I went to the hospital and they said, yep, you're in bad shape. You got about 3 days to live. Like you had a couple days or you would have been dead.
Right.
So
So up until that point, what's going through your mind? I mean, you're scared, obviously. You're
well,
what?
honestly, at that time,
Oh,
I wasn't really necessarily scared at that point. Can you hear me?
yep. Go ahead.
I wasn't scared at that point until like, because I knew it, like this medicine that they were giving me was like a safety net, and it was
Okay.
it was a vehicle to get the actual transplant. They put me on a medication. It was a 24-hour pump medication, and it was a bridge between that and the transplant. So I wasn't necessarily scared at that point. I mean, every now and then I would get a scare in my chest thinking I was going to, and I would say going back to 3 years, there were many sleepless nights of not knowing if I was going to wake up or not,
Wow.
because my heart was just so weak.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, my wife would listen to my heart and it just didn't sound like a normal heart. She would just lay on my chest and it just didn't sound like a normal heart at all.
Wow. Okay. So leading up to the day, how it took you 3 years to get a heart?
No, so it's a long process, and I wasn't
Okay.
listed at the time.
Got it.
So then June we started the listing process.
Right.
And then come July, August, I had to go put back in the hospital again because the medication was failing. And they had to put a little pump inside my heart.
Wow.
And that was going to buy me about 3 or 4 months. I was going to live in the hospital, and that put me at a level 2 status for transplant. And we were okay with that. And that started to get real. Like when they started talking about, hey, listen, you're going to live here. That's when I started to think about my life. Like, wow, what did I do in my life? What did I accomplish enough? How's my family going to be taken care of? Those were the things that were going through my head at the time. And then when the pump failed 2 or 3 days later and it stopped working, they had another conversation with me, and the doctor sat down with me and my wife and said, listen, we're going to have to probably put you on life support, but we want to have a coherent decision. We don't want to have to do it. We want you to do it, willingly. So at that time, I decided, yes, put me on ECMO, which it's 2 hoses go inside of your main arteries in your legs, and they pump the blood in and out of your body, and it basically is your lungs and heart outside of your body.
Wow.
So that was when it really got, I was like, wow, all right, let's do it. Let's, this is it. And I mean, I think they said I probably had about 2 weeks on that, and that's it. Like, they had to get me a heart. So 2 days later, September 5th, they found the heart. And on September 6th is when they transplanted me.
What's that process like? What do they match everything up medically? And
Yep.
Okay.
Everything has to be matched. So my heart, I'm O positive, so they have to match with the blood, which it's a common blood. So it's a harder heart to get. So it's a longer process normally.
Right.
I'm a bigger male, so they had to find a male heart that was big enough for me, because they had found a few different hearts and they weren't big enough. So they actually had to pass those off. And so the new heart's a 23 to 27-year-old male.
Wow.
And the process to even get the heart to me is within a 4-hour window. So they actually have to it's a crazy process.
Right. And so, like, what's going through your mind? Are you like, I mean, the day of and the actual, I mean, what do you do? Like, are you sitting there with your family and do you know what I mean?
My wife was by my side. She was by my side the entire time, and she was staying strong. And, I mean, I'm strong. I'm a strong individual, but she definitely helped me get through it. I mean, and I'm a Christian guy, so I lean to my God as well.
Right.
And I had a lot of family and friends. We had so many family and friends and people and social media, and just so many people praying for us, and it just was a huge support system, and it was so powerful, so powerful.
Nice.
And it just, every surgery I went into, because I had 9 operations.
Wow.
While I was in the hospital for 81 days. It was 61 days was the long stint. Every one I went in cheering. I went with a positive mental attitude. I didn't go in negative at all. The anesthesiologist came to me to get the paperwork signed. I was smiling. He thought I was crazy because I was smiling. I said, I just want to get this going.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, you go through the process.
Yep.
Obviously, it's a success. And what do you remember waking up? Like, what were you going through? What did you go through?
I remember waking. I remember one of the most pivotal moments of waking up when I was coherent, was the nurse had taken the stethoscope,
right,
and put it on my ears and let me listen to my new heart.
Oh, wow. What is that? What is that like? Is that like scary? Like, do you feel?
It was just amazing to hear a normal heartbeat and to feel, and to just fathom that somebody else's heart is inside my body and it's pumping, and it's just insane. It's so surreal. Like, I feel like there is another part of another soul in me.
Right.
And I'm grateful. And it's just crazy.
So do you know where it comes from? Do you have that information, or they don't know?
Not yet. We have to write to the Gift of Life program.
Oh, okay.
And then they get permission from the donor's family and everything else.
Got it. Do you want to know, or?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. So, okay. So you have this new heart, and what next? You're in the hospital for a while. Like I remember we were talking briefly before.
So I was in the hospital. I was still on the ECMO. I was still on the life support. So you're in a bed where you're in a 4-point position. You can't even move.
Wow.
And they still have the blood being. They have multiple meters and medicines going in you and all sorts of crazy stuff. I was in the ICU for a good few weeks, or I would say a month.
So let me ask you this. Sorry to cut you off. So you're lying in bed. You really can't move around, right?
Yeah.
What the hell is going through your mind? Like, do you feel like a prisoner? Like, I mean, what's going through your head?
I wanted to jump out. I wanted to jump out of the bed and run a marathon.
But you can't. I mean, are you like going crazy, or like, do you feel like a prisoner?
No, I felt grateful. I was grateful.
Okay. Right on.
I was appreciative and grateful. Every morning I woke up, I was grateful to be alive every single day.
How is time? Does time move slowly? Does time move quickly?
Time kind of disappears. It's weird to say. It's like sometimes time would slow down, sometimes it would speed up. But
Right.
when you're in there for the duration that I was in there, I look back and I'm like, man, that really felt like a long time. But no, it was only 61 days.
Right.
You know, I couldn't imagine how long it felt for my wife. My wife would go home every night and sleep home with the family, and then I was
Right.
in the hospital. So time definitely would change in your mindset.
Right on. Okay, so like obviously you get talked to from the doctor. What is he telling you?
Well, I had a team of doctors, so I was in one of the best
Okay.
hospitals in Philadelphia.
Forgive me. Forgive
Yeah.
me.
No, we had, we
your
had
team of doctors. What's the prognosis? Like you're going to be in bed. What's next?
no, they're very aggressive with their treatment plans. You know, they want to get you out of bed right away. Once I was off the ECMO, they were, you know, they try to they baby you at first, but then once they see you're making progress, they like let you go.
Right.
Within 8 days of the transplant, I was up walking the hallway with the physical trainers.
Is that normal? Wow.
It's not. No, because the majority of the people that were on the ICU are in bad shape. They're all intubated, you know, induced comas. I was
Wow.
one of the few that were walking around the hallways.
Got it. So let me ask you, like, where does your mindset come from? Like, I mean, is there someone in your life that just, I mean, where's, to go through something like this, and here you are talking to us about it, and you're all smiles, and like, where do you get your mindset? Like, where?
Well,
Like,
it goes back to your why. It goes back to why you do. You know, my why is my family. My why is, taking care of my family. And I know if I laid in that bed, I wouldn't want to get out. And I had to get up and I had to heal and get better.
Right.
Because I needed to get out of that hospital in good shape.
Right.
I have people in my life that have inspired me. Many different people, many different mentors, and I take from each mentor that I've learned from over the years and just formed my own unique self.
Right. Is there? I mean, like, one, for instance.
Yeah, I had an uncle who passed away from cancer, and he was an entrepreneur, owned a successful flooring business in Philadelphia. I mean, between him and my father, because my father he broke his back for 38 years to take care of his
Wow.
family. And
Right.
Between the two of them, I just looked up to the both of them.
Got it. All right, man. Let's see what makes you tick. Let's see. Let's get a reading. Joseph, you there?
Yeah, I am.
Hey. Okay. So, what are the questions that you have?
Yeah, I wanted to know if you have his birth data, please, his date and time of birth, please.
Yes, we do. He was born in Philadelphia, 8/20/21.
8/20/81.
I'm sorry.
8/20/81.
8/20. Oh, sorry. Hello. Yeah, that would make you two. Not even. 8/20. One more time. Go ahead. Why don't you tell him? You tell him.
8/20/81.
At
Okay,
10:30
Leo,
p.m.
born near the rooster. What time of the day were you born?
10:30 p.m.
Okay, so probably Taurus rising, moon in Taurus, sun in Leo, north node of the moon, and Leo, south node conjunct Lilith. Yeah, I'm looking at your karma, what was going on in your past lives and your spiritual evolution to be involved in this type of symbolic situation. Of course, you're a Leo, born in the year of the rooster, like Steve Martin, for example. But roosters are generally very strong-willed, like General George S. Patton and General Douglas MacArthur. And you were a warrior in past lives. I feel that you were protecting your village in a previous life. You were on the bulwarks and you were shot in the heart by an arrow. And in a previous life, you shot somebody in the heart with an arrow or with a weapon. And that your feelings were divided. Leo rules the heart, by the way. All the
Yep.
different signs rule different parts of the body. From Aries, the first sign rules the head, to Taurus rules the neck, to Gemini rules the arms and the lungs and the hands. Cancer rules the stomach. Leo rules the heart and spine. So like Richard the Lion-hearted, for example. Virgo rules the intestines. Libra rules the kidneys. Scorpio rules the sexual and eliminative organs. Sagittarius rules the thighs. They make good runners and dancers. Capricorn rules the knees. And Aquarius rules the ankles. And Pisces finally rules the feet, where all the nerves go down to the last sign, Pisces. That's why foot reflexology is very good. But in any event, Leo rules the heart. Another Leo who had major heart surgery is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Classic Leo. Yeah. So, you're not a typical Leo, though, because you got Moon in Taurus rising. And
John, I'm sorry, John, did you know that?
What that in regards
Arnold,
to?
Arnold
I didn't know that.
Schwarzenegger?
I
Oh,
didn't know
okay.
that. No.
Okay. You were aware that he got
Surgery.
transplanted, though, right?
Excuse me? What was that, Johnny?
I said, were you aware that Arnold had a transplant as well?
No.
I didn't know that he had a transplant. I believe he had a patient. Oh, did he have a transplant?
Maybe
He had major heart surgery, because he was taking steroids for a long time.
Right. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Leos are very big-hearted. They're very kind-hearted. It reminds me of the Leo who played the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz, Bert Lahr. They're very courageous, but also very sensitive. They, always want to do the right thing. You're a very virtuous guy. You got Moon in Taurus rising, which shows that you're a nurturer. You take care of people. Your family obviously is very important to you.
Yep.
The south node of the moon conjunct dark moon Lilith in Capricorn shows that, and typical of the rooster, you're very strong-willed and you're a leader. You're a nurturer and a leader. So you have all heart. It was the karma of heart conflicts in war, I believe, this is what I'm feeling, that puts you in this position to receive a heart, probably from somebody in a previous life that you saved them or killed them, or in one life killed them, in another life you saved them. The history of the world is constant warfare.
Yep.
All throughout history, there's been constant warfare. And because people are invading each other's cities and towns and protecting their city and town from the invaders. You had this happen on a kind of a bulwark. I'm looking at castle battlements that, because what you had was a freak accident with electricity.
Yep.
And it was on a high place. Is that correct? Is that what
Yes.
you
Yeah, about 5 stories in the air.
Yeah, so you were up in the air. You were in a position of exaltation or leadership, which in your astrology chart, the south node, which represents past life karma, was elevated. That's, interesting about you in terms of your personality. You're very self-effacing for a Leo. You're not a boaster, which most of them are.
Yeah,
I mean, now and then you do something great at work and, you'll kind of pop a bud afterwards and boast a little bit or let your friends compliment you for it.
Yep.
But you're very, there's 3 levels to every sign. For Leo, it's kitten, lion, and ringmaster. The kitten is very playful, like Steve Martin, once again, or Lucille Ball. Good sense of humor. And you smile a lot. You're a joyful man. You wanted to jog out of the hospital, so you're in love with life. Sunny, because the sun rules Leo. So people with the sun and Leo, that's very good placement. You're very positive and cheerful man. And the lion, though, is powerful, like Napoleon Bonaparte, Fidel Castro, a lot of Hollywood producers and studio executives. Johnny here has Leo rising, as I do. You can see my son in the background with the astrology zodiac. And astrologers are often Leo oriented. We love personalities. But to get more to the point, what did this accident do for you? Because everything is positive. I believe that it made you more nurturing because you were being nurtured. Probably for the first time in your life, you were the one who was being nurtured. You learned how to receive love and nurturing and care from other people. And you learn also how to share that with other people more naturally, although you've always been a nurturing person. You've got the moon and Taurus rising. That's exalted, the moon in Taurus. You're actually more Taurus than Leo, I got to tell you.
Really?
You remind me of John Goodman.
Yeah.
And when I'm doing face reading of you, your lower third of your face is almost larger than the other 2/3. And that shows sensuous appetites. I wouldn't be surprised if you like, a good pizza after work.
Love a good pizza.
Yeah. And maybe a little too much pizza now and then.
I gotta watch the new heart.
Yeah. And you may have been more of a beer drinker before your accident. I don't know. But
Scotch drinker, but I do like beer.
oh, you like scotch?
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, being a Christian, you have great spiritual values.
Absolutely.
High-minded,
Yep.
So you're what I call the ringmaster Leo, which is the Leo that is opposite the stereotype of the egomaniac. All you Leos out there know what I'm talking about. You always, every time you confess that you're a Leo or boast that you're a Leo, everybody says, oh, you must be a big ego tripper. And you're clearly not. You're clearly a team leader. You're a presidential type of Leo, like Bill Clinton at his best, not at his worst. Bill, he was a lover. Let's face it. Leos are romantic, but he was also a very great consensus builder. He had Libra rising that helped him in that task. But you teach humility, character, love, responsibility, teamwork. I bet you're Mr. Teamwork on the job. Am I correct?
100%. Collaborative all the way.
Yeah. And you don't, it's like there's no I in team.
Nope.
Yeah. And, with the Taurus rising, you're really about results. How can we get this done? You're pragmatic. You're utilitarian. You're can be very stoic sometimes. Taurus is like Sitting Bull. But then you turn around, and you're a very loving and nurturing person. So you're all heart. The funny thing about these rulerships I mentioned of the 12 signs is that where a person is most gifted, they are most challenged. And so your heart, how many times have you had to work with somebody, maybe you were supervising and they were lazy, irresponsible, didn't do the job, you had to finally let them go, and it broke your heart? Does that make Johnny?
Yeah, it does. And I can remember a clear situation of when it did. Yep.
Now, another thing is your initials are JC. How are we not surprised you're a Christian?
You're right.
JC.
Yep.
So
Gee, I wonder who else has those initials.
yeah, who else?
And he was a carpenter.
Wow, there you go.
So you were brought down and you were raised as an example of joy under fire, of compassion for your family, even before yourself. So you're a hero. You're a hero of the heart, and just like the great teacher and savior who was all heart. And so I admire and respect the heck out of you, John. You're a great man.
Thank you.
You've been positive in the face of death. And you are just really one of the finest people I've ever met. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. I'm trying not to tear up here.
Well, you have a right to, because your tears light the stars. Johnny, do we have any more questions or feedback that you want to do?
Yeah, John, do you have any questions? Do you have anything that you're wondering about yourself, or?
I really would like to know more about my donor, if there's any way to tell, like how he because we know it's a he. We know he's 23 to 27, and we know he was within 500 miles. Like, how he died or something or any information. I mean, it's because I try to be patient as much as possible. We have to write a letter to the Gift of Light program, but I just feel like, I don't know, any little bit of information would be awesome.
Well, I'm hesitant to talk too much about previous incarnations
Okay.
because although I've channeled and I've, done past life hypnosis for clients and corroborated a lot of my intuitions, we see patterns in what we call north node of the moon and south node of the moon, or Rahu and Ketu in the Vedic system.
Okay.
And you have north node of the moon in Leo and south node in Aquarius conjunct the dark moon Lilith, which most astrologers don't even know about. It's very powerful. In some ways more powerful than the whole rest of the chart. You have that on the 10th house of career in, let me just double check. Yeah, 10th house of career. And what that shows is you've always had a choice between being the warm-hearted nurturer and being the authoritarian boss. And you may have started out thinking you needed to know everything and be in charge and be official and be responsible and tell people what to do. But then you learned that gentle nurturing
Yep.
is the real sign of a great leader. And this south node in Capricorn, Lilith is exalted in Capricorn. That's the best place for it to be for a warrior. Were you in the service, by the way?
No, I was not. I enlisted. I enlisted when I was 18, but then I ended up getting out due to a shoulder injury. So I was going to be in the Marine Corps.
Yeah. Another interesting injury related to warfare or leadership. And I feel strongly that the man who gave you his heart, that you knew him in two different incarnations, one where you killed him on the battlefield, one where you saved his life.
Huh. Wow.
And this may actually been one incarnation where you were going to kill him, but you saved his life or spared him. And that's the kind of person you are. You would give a person a second chance.
Yep.
Yeah. And you may have done that, like we were talking about firing people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've done that. Sometimes, sometimes third time.
There you go. What a great person you are.
Thank you.
All heart. And a guy who, invented or made a lot of money off the term "you're fired" has Leo rising, Donald Trump. You notice what a blustery character he is? He also does the same thing you do, sun conjunct the star, or actually ascendant in his case, in your case, the sun, conjunct the star, Epsilon Leonis, also called the Coeur de Lion, the heart of the lion. You can look this up. It's at 29 degrees Leo. Your sun's at 27 degrees Leo.
Okay.
So you have the heart of the lion, La Coeur de Lion.
Love it.
And, that's powerful.
That is really powerful.
In your nature. I can certainly see if it's your desire to do so, that you could, continue on inspiring people to love life.
Yep.
And to reach for their heart and to share their heart, as you were so fortunate to be the recipient of somebody sharing their heart, literally.
Yeah.
And you're all heart. You're just one of the most beautiful, loving, caring, socially responsible ringmaster Leos I've ever met. More power to you. God bless you, John. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
The torch of
I
love.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
That's great. So thank you, Joseph. John, so what's going on in life? What are you doing now?
I'm home. Today is home. 4 weeks out of the hospital.
Okay.
So I'm still healing. Still going to doctors. Go get another biopsy tomorrow, and for just to make sure there's no rejections. Ton of medication, different changes. So I'm still in the healing mode. But I'm really looking forward to going out there to inspire others and be, an ear for somebody or a shoulder to cry on or whatever, and just spread the good word and, through my experiences and that I've been through.
Right. Well, you definitely did that today because whoever watches this, I've never met anyone who's been through this. So it's fascinating when one of the producers brought it up to me and told me the story that we're going to actually get to live your journey with you, per se, and actually find out what makes you you.
Awesome.
So like you're the lion-hearted. We're
I
finding
know,
out.
it was such awesome information here. It was such great information.
Not, I mean, it's just, to me, I'm like sitting here fascinated that the guy of heart had heart issues, and now he's continuing on being
Yeah.
the heart guy.
And I got a strong 20-something-year-old heart.
That's amazing.
And you will be transplanting your heart into other people's hearts.
I love that.
Wow,
I love that.
that's awesome.
That's great. I like that. I'm gonna
That
steal
is-
that from you.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Got a transplant, now going to transplant. But all right.
Great.
So John, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your story with us on Survivor Series. Definitely, maybe sometime in the future, if you're able to get that information, just to get an update on how you're doing and
Absolutely. No.
how that turned out. And I mean, be fascinating to know. Like, I mean, I'm sitting here, like
Story?
yeah, well, he's talking about past lives and stuff, and that, like if you're into that, or your mind's in that,
Yeah.
that you possibly knew this you're paying this karmic debt, or vice versa. It's just amazing. Like, I mean, like even the story you said about like you being high up, and,
Yep.
and exalted.
The
and all that.
irony
No,
in that
for sure.
great.
So a little bit of more information. So listen,
If
man.
I may interject, I just wanted to add one more note.
Sure.
You have also a strong placement of your wounded healer asteroid, Chiron. And that placement makes you a wounded healer, just as Christ was.
Wow.
Okay. And so as Christ was raised up and scourged, as they say, and you're a Christian,
Yep.
by your stripes, or by his stripes, we are healed. So by your wound, you bring out the heart of humanity. And this is to your immortal credit.
Wow.
We live what, 100 years at best, but we're all eternal spirits in the heart of God.
Yep.
And he has
Amen.
appointed you, in my opinion, for a special message, that you're giving to humanity. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Pay it forward.
That's wonderful. All right, John. We're wishing
Thanks,
you all
man.
the
I
best.
appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Joe. Much appreciated.
Very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Great.
you, and safe travels to you, man, and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Likewise. You too.
All right, take care.
You got it.
Hey, thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please push the like button and also subscribe. If there are personalities that you'd like us to investigate and look into, please leave them down in the comments. Also, if you'd like a personal reading with Joseph, the information will be down below.